issue of challenges that young people go through. So thank you so much. Uh, I give this mandate to Ruth. Karibu, and introduce to us your team.
All right, thank you so much, Tito, for that. Yes, we've started a little bit late, but at least I am happy that we have actually begun it. So today we are going to have a very candid discussion on youth and leadership, and I'm having very wonderful panelists. You know, if you saw the post, I'm very sure you can ascertain that today will be really, really fantastic. I'm really honored to moderate this particular webinar. So my guests, I'm going to list them, then I'll give them an opportunity to introduce themselves, what they do. My first panelist is Diana Nekesa, Campus Me 2 lead, facilitator. Then my second panelist is Gesicho Brian. I don't think he has joined yet, but he's going to join us later. He has communicated that because he's traveling. Now, Gesicho Brian is a YMCA Culture Club facilitator. And then my third panelist is Brian Muraya. So I think we have two Brians. I think when Gesicho comes, we're going to use the word Gesicho, the name Gesicho. He's in the YMCA leadership and a capacity building facilitator. So I think we have the right set of people to have an interaction with on this particular webinar. So maybe we'll start off with Diana, then we'll move on to Brian. You can introduce yourselves. Tell us what you love doing. You know, when you're free, when you're out of that schedule, what do you love doing most? Because I've already stated what you guys do in terms of your leadership roles.
Thank you for the opportunity. I'm Diana Nekesa. I'm the Campus Me2 lead, and the okay. I'm also the co-facilitator YGAP. So, what I love doing, apart from if I'm not advocating for women, I am somewhere traveling. If I'm not traveling, I am somewhere learning a skill. That's what I like to do out of my normal schedule. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Diana, for that. Hey, Apo kwa traveling, you must tell us where you are getting the funds to travel because, hey, guys, I've written a lot of times that my hobby is traveling, but I've had to change because, hey, my lord, traveling is quite expensive. Ama ni mimi nachagua destinations. Nikuwe natoka hapa naenda Roysambu jamani because, hey, traveling is quite expensive, you know. But anyway, thank you so much for that, learning a skill. It's actually so amazing. So yeah, let's go to Brian. Brian Karibu.
Thank you very much, Ruth. And you don't have to worry about calling me Brian. I actually prefer Mariah. So, when Diana said she loves traveling, what she didn't tell you guys is that hers is not traveling. Kajuja kukuja Nairobi sio travel, and that is called rural urban migration. You're just migrating from a rural area kuingia tao. But anyway, my name is Mariah, and yeah, I'm the team lead. Leadership and capacity building at the YMCA Central, like the head initiated before. One fun thing about me is that I don't know what my hobby is, but what I love doing is that I love giving back to the society and giving back to the community. Please, yote manze mnapata you are impacting people and just creating change and helping people like due cause in a direction that is worth, and that's how you'll find me. I also love singing, hata kama sauti yangu ni mbaya, as you can hear. And of course, lazima tunachocha watu. Part of also what I do is I dance most of the time, and mi ni ule tu mse hyper. Na kama ukinipata pale base pia, I'm always that guy who will always initiate that conversation. So yeah, thank you, and back there. And I'm so positive about this topic today. Can't wait. Back to you, Ruth.
All right, thank you so much, Brian. Hey, let us just be kind, jamani, to Diana. She will tell us. She'll get an opportunity to tell us where she has traveled to. But just let us just be kind. But anyway, I think this is a good time. Rural urban. Hey, Muraya, nimeanza banta zako kidogo. Hey, zinaweza humble mtu. But anyway, I think at this particular point we can start off our discussion. And basically, I think there's something that I think leadership is defined in very different ways, depending on what facet of leadership you have been in. There are people who believe leadership is about position. There are people who believe leadership is about influence. There are people who believe leadership is what? Basically making change, etc. But I want to give a chance to first of all, we'll start with Diana. In your own opinion, or in terms of what you have, interacted with the far that you've come, campus me to lead, me to lead facilitator. What is leadership according to you?
Thank you for this opportunity. So, according to me, I feel like leadership is basically being able to influence someone or people, being able to inspire others towards achieving some certain goals, and being able to guide, yeah, while fostering accountability. Basically, where people can succeed. So that's my definition of leadership.
All right, thank you so much. I told you you're going to all get a different perspective of what leadership is. Let's hear from you, Brian. What is leadership to you?
Well, for me, if I were to be honest, I'd say leadership is service. And what I mean by service is being in a position of leadership is not all about position of authority, but it is about serving others. It's being in a position whereby you know you've been called at that chance to be able to direct people and lead them to not where they want to go, but where they ought to go. It's gonna be a tough journey. It's gonna be some people will have to go against what you think. Some people will uh, make you test your leadership capabilities, but it is you standing your ground and understanding. I'm here to serve you guys to the best position that we ought to be as a team together. So for me, I believe in service as a leadership is service.
All right. I think that's really fantastic. Leadership is about service, and what I liked most is that leadership is directing people to where they ought to be. I think when you talk about leadership in the perspective of influence, and I'll give an example because maybe I'm leading comrades in Took, and life has not been easy, guys, because sometimes there's always a conflict between the university management and the administration and the students. And sometimes it's very hard to convince, a population of more than 10,000 students that indeed what is happening is for your own good, And I like the fact that there's someone who says, or rather, Brian has given a good definition of leadership is taking people to where they ought to be, that not all the time we are always right. Some risks must be taken for a better tomorrow. Yeah. So yeah, I think I have really loved what Diana and Brian have actually shared. Once Nani comes, actually someone should just notify me, or when he comes, he will let me know. Um, that is the other Brian or Kisacho. But we can start off with Brian, right? All through your leadership, you've talked about leadership being, um, service, directing people to where they ought to be. Have you come up with any philosophy? I know we are all young people here, and maybe there's that one thing in inakwambianga. If I tell you, Brian, to come become a leader somewhere, utakuwa like, no, this is not my thing. This is not what I have built in terms of my leadership capacity. But when I call you to another thing, you'll be like, hapo umenipata Ruth. So what are some of the, not some, but what is that one philosophy that you have about leadership, in terms of what really drives you every day, what really makes you go for this particular thing and not go for the other?
Ooh, wow! Thank you for such a challenge. I mean, hey Ruth Bana, yeah, my friend. Hey, anyway, the philosophy that I have, while in ngumu leo, like that. So for me, the philosophy that makes me aspire or makes me tend to dive in one direction of leadership and the other is looking at. I love approaching everything from the end goal. So given there is this task ahead of us. And we are about 5 people, 6 people, or we are a community. And, yeah, so you yourself being in the middle as the leader, it is to the end goal. And once you be able to get the end goal, is also to understand who is in your court or whom you have in your team. Because leadership, you cannot do leadership alone. You know, I usually say like for leadership, it's not a solo thing. It's a circle whereby you will have to be intertwined with people who not only are like-minded but also people who are challenging you because you ought to be on track. You ought to if you are directing in one direction, then you need to understand how am I taking this route and forfeiting the other route. So the opinion of my directive or how I choose it to be is that teamwork is what leads to that direction and the end goal will be able to light you and forward you to that direction. So once you get the end goal, for you backtrack to your team. So I have a team of five. If it is Zephania, then I know Zephania is good in accountability. Then I know when it comes to accountability, I will be able to rely on Zephania. If I come to Ireri, then I know Ireri is good with communication. Then it is lining. So anything that has to come with communication, then it has to go via Ireri because it is as a leader, it is not just you who is growing. You're growing personally, but also growing the people who are next to you. Because I usually say myself, I have a narrative that leadership is not being followed surrounding you, but it is transforming those followers to be leaders so that the moment I am out of that place or that position of leadership, and the people who I were impacting throughout that journey will be the people who will come up and take up those roles and be able to even lead so that it is just like a transition or a conveyor belt. If one part is not moving, then the whole system is down. So if we are a conveyor belt, me, Ireri, and Zephania, if I am the leader today, then I have to understand that tomorrow Zephania will be the leader, and the day after tomorrow it will be Ireri who will be the leader. So yeah, that's my notion and that's my narrative for leadership. Back to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Brian. Actually, you have answered it in a very surprising way. And let me just summarize for people. I think what I've gotten from what you have mentioned is team spirit. And also in that team, whom do you have in that team? Because you can't have people who hakuna mtu anaweza kuwa jahazi. Yeah, I think I've loved the fact that you've actually mentioned that nikiwa na team lazima nikuwe na mtu mwenye at least anajua communication, someone who is conversant with maybe something like policy making. Not you're having sleepers, people who hakuna mtu anaweza kuamsha asubuhi. All of you guys are late latecomers to meetings, but they need to actually have a team that is going to contribute towards your success. And on top of that, what I actually got is that you also encourage and promote growth among the people around you. Because I think in a team, it's very common. You'll never find everyone at the same level. The people who are going to be above, others are going to be quite opportunity. The people actually taking the leadership to mentor other people so that by the time you're exiting, that legacy will not fall, but that legacy will continue growing and becoming better. And I think I love this philosophy. And if you're there like me, I think this is something I am willing to adopt. Having a good team spirit among people and having a balanced team at the same time, and also encouraging growth among the people in your team. I think I've really, really loved that. So, yeah, let's go to Diana. For you, Diana, throughout, I think I have ever interacted with Campus Me Too Lead. I think I have such a banner in school, or is it called a poster in school? So, what are some of the qualities that you feel it's that actually important for young people who are aspiring to be leaders or actually are in leadership positions? What are some of the qualities that you have actually used you yourself that has made you a successful leader or has made you an effective leader so far?
Thank you for your question. So before I get to the qualities, I want to just give a brief information of how I got to the qualities. Okay, Campus Me Too deals with ending GBV basically. And I also work for an organization and I'm in the gender department. So at times you can receive cases that can weigh you down. At times you get traumatized and get filled with emotions which you're not supposed to have as a leader. At times you encounter resistance from others, and at, at some moments you will work with individuals that refuse to cooperate. Some of the members may refuse to be committed and have accountability. So basically, some of the qualities that you need to have as a leader. The first thing, you need to have emotional intelligence. As I've told you, okay, we are humans basically. We are humans and we tend to be emotional and we tend to be sensitive. But it's important to understand and manage our emotions, because if we get to understand how to manage our emotions, it will be okay, it will come handy when it comes to making decisions, because you find that times you can make decisions when uko na certain emotions that that can influence your decision making. And when it comes to emotion, to emotions, by saying you should have emotional intelligence, it means that you should be mindful of your emotions. As I said, we are humans. So as much as you have those emotions, you should be mindful of them. You should be mindful of your emotional responses in different situations. You should be able to practice empathy, because empathy is also emotional intelligence, because you get to recognize when a team member is maybe struggling with issues, and you can make adjustments rather than pushing them to some limit of work without understanding the situation. So first, I've talked about emotional intelligence, and it goes hand in hand with empathy. The second quality that I think as a leader you must have is resilience. I've started by mentioning, personally, I used to work with people who are not cooperative. I used to have setbacks. I in Until now in my leadership journey, at times I have setbacks. At times I have to deal with people who don't want to cooperate. Should I give up now as a leader? No, I don't have to give up. What should I do? I should have resilience, because with this quality, you get to bounce back from setbacks. As a young leader, you'll inevitably face challenges, and with resilience, you learn how to move without feeling discouraged. Because and how do you build resilience? First of all, you must cultivate a growth mindset, and you have to learn from failure. The third quality that I think it's so important to have as a leader is problem solving. Honestly, that's, I think, an important, because to be a problem solver, first of all, you have to be a critical thinker. You have to think big. You have to think beyond. Effective leaders think critically and make informed decisions. You have to come up with solutions for a problem. Are you that leader that can actually come up with solutions, innovative solutions? So that's a very important quality that you must have as a leader. I think another one that's also equally important is effective communication. Effective communication is important as a leader because it helps a lot when it comes to resolving conflicts, and it also builds trust. You want to rally people for an event, communicate the purpose, communicate the goals. Don't just go and tell the members, hey, we are doing this and this tomorrow, jipangeni, blah blah blah. You've not even communicated the purpose, the goals, you've not engaged them. So it's really important to have effective communication, because it's so important when it comes to inspiring participation and commitment from your colleagues. Another one I think is accountability. Basically, it's so important as a leader to take responsibility for your actions. Honestly, you have accountability starts with you, and also holding others accountable to build credibility and trust. Basically, own up to your own mistakes. As I've said, accountability starts with you. As a leader, be a responsible leader. Show people Do you want people to be accountable? Do you want your members to be accountable? Start by owning up your own mistakes. Start by being accountable. Be responsible, basically. Lead by example. I think another one, which is so important, and Muraya had mentioned it, is teamwork and collaboration. That's also an important quality because only when you create and foster teamwork and unity, you move towards your goal. Basically, you can't do it alone. You're a leader, but you need people. You need to have teamwork. Last but not least, sorry for the too many qualities, but this is the last one. You need to have a vision. I feel like as a young leader, it's so important. And this is one thing that I was told, and it has helped me in, in my leadership journey. Because visionary leaders see and think ahead, think big, and develop long term and strategic goals. Thank you for the questions. Those are the qualities that I really think it's important for a leader to have.
All right. Thank you so much, Diana. If you're not, me literally, I'm having a book and a pen. Yeah, a whole masterclass yenye ningelipia how much 5,000 na hiyo ni regular. I think these are really really amazing qualities, and I think there's someone who has typed them up. Well, thank you so much for doing that. For those who probably do not have a pen and paper, so this is your time. Just look for that pen and paper because hey, jamani, Dana and Brian, it's like you went to some group of schools, jamani, because the way you are injecting these points, they are really, really injecting. And I think something that I will maybe point out, one actually when I got into school leadership, which is I think for a very long time, that's like my highest leadership role that I've gotten so far in my lifetime. And I would say if there's something that has really worked out for me is emotional intelligence. Guys, there are times people will troll you on social media. You want to start typing or do a video while calling you are so mad, but there are times you just have to calm down and be the bigger person. There are times you want to stand on top of a table or on a chair and tell people, you give them a piece of your mind. By the end of the day, you're like, if I continue giving people a piece of my mind, probably by the end of the year, I won't be having anything to share. So this is something that I've come to really admire, and actually being able to accept when you do something wrong, and also cultivating a culture of growth mindset. I think this is something that I've loved because I think once I became a leader, I became more sensitive to other ways I can be a better person. You don't only get comfortable where you are, you want to be better, you want to be bigger, you want to do other things, you want to inspire change, you want to do a whole lot of things. And where these are really, really wonderful qualities, I hope, and I think this is something that if you've been in any leadership masterclass or whatever, or maybe a boot camp, not a boot camp, but probably a seminar or a conference, I'm very sure these are some of the things you will interact with. And some things are very, very unique, like cultivating a growth mindset, something like having a vision. And I think I'll come to that as we're discussing the challenges. But before that, Brian, you have something to say on qualities?
Yes, please, and thank you. So I didn't want to interrupt, that's why I raised my hand. And wow, I mean, hey, Diana, I think I need to see behind the tent. Where hivi vitu sijui unatoa wapi, ziko on point, buzzer points. But allow me to just add three more points on qualities that I also feel these are good key qualities that every leader should have. Number one is that every leader should have the self-awareness and adaptability. When I mean by self-awareness is knowing who you are as a leader, how grounded are you, and you must understand like your strengths and even your weaknesses, and even be open to feedback and change. Because some of the things that once you get into leadership, it is understanding like I myself as Mara, this is how I show up to people, and this is how they perceive of me. The other thing I also think is about authenticity. As a leader, you need to be authentic. Like you need to be the real you, and I think this can also key line with self-awareness, because I must understand like if people love me, Joa, like people love me for who I am. Like if Moriah is that vocal person who is always coming and speaking about certain thing, then I need to maintain that. Not because that today I've become a leader, I start changing and trying to fit in, like as you've grown up being sure like behave this way. As a leader, be authentic, because that's what people get to interact you with, get to connect you with. I mean, being a leader is even being able to gel with the people in your community and gelling with them and connecting with them. So if my authenticity of being that vocal person, of being that compassionate person, is what makes people then connect with me, then once you get into leadership, don't try and change that. In fact, be the real, continue being as authentic as you are. And one more thing I can add is that in this era of being a youth, as a leader, you need to be like digitally literate, because everything is happening on space, everything is happening on the internet. And in today's like fast-paced world, like understanding technology and its impacts on leadership is essential for young leaders, because that is where most of the interactions are happening, like the interaction we are having right now. And even be able to reach other more people, because as a leader, like we said, you do not grow on you do not as a leader, you do not you do not grow on isolation. So you must surround yourself with people who are of the same like mind. You must globally connect and also understand the trends that are coming up, and also understand how technology is influencing leadership in youth spaces and even in more positions, so that you can able to gel from the to the new and even to what is currently present. So thank you, and back to you, Ruth.
Right. Thank you so much, Brian, for that. I think we've really had a good time with that particular topic. I think there's someone who is raising an issue of yeah, maybe Brian, you can, I don't know, try get close to your phone so that we can hear you better. Yeah, that's, I think at some point you are kind of going low, but at least tumesikia um 90 or 95% of what you've shared. Maybe we can move on to the next question. Um, I think you have really stated, and in my own opinion, I believe peer-to-peer mentorship is one of the best mentorship spaces. I'm not saying we disregard the verticals kind of mentorship, but for me, this is already a masterclass, honestly. And I'm very sure that as we are actually advancing in our leadership roles, our leadership capacities, we have come across comments like oh, you know, you are young, you don't know what you're saying. Especially us when we go face the administration, there are times you are told, you know, you have not seen it all, so you don't know what you're saying. A lot of times, young people get undermined, and I think when Gen Zs were busy fighting, you know, there are some people who are like, "Nyinyi vijana hamjui," you know, you don't know what you're doing. People will start narrating for you stories during Moi's time. I don't know how and the perspective of young people today is quite, and it's so different from the perspective of the other generations, from millennials. You'll find as we have a lot of guts, we will say the way it's supposed to be said, no sugarcoating, no adding why. If it is blue, it is blue. If it is black, it is black. And I think this is quite challenging, especially when you are working with different generations. I think that is something that I have encountered. So maybe if we start with Diana, as you also mentioned the challenges. I know you had mentioned some, but you can tell us what are some of the challenges you have gone through in your leadership capacity, especially when you talk about gender-based violence. We have different nowadays. People are talking about being what raped in a relationship. People that there's this thing called I'm forgetting it, but it is intimacy. There's something when I remember, I'm going to share. And someone of the other generation will be like, "Hi, no, this is not actually, you know, it's not actually happening." What are some of the challenges and also victimization, or should I say discrimination, and also someone looking down on you, and how have you managed such kind of challenges?
Thank you for the question. Actually, this is very sensitive what I'm about to share, but I'm in the gender department, specifically the women's rights, and I'll share some of the setbacks that I've faced. So, the first one, emotional toll. Honestly, I've told you, kwanza mimi niko kwa sector ya writing reports. I literally write reports, and the cases I see, they really traumatize me. They take an emotional toll on me, to be honest. Dealing with traumatic cases, it leads to burnout. It can lead to fatigue and emotional exhaustion, honestly. It also affects my personal opinion, because at some point I was like, hey, Mimi, okay, not being biased, but at some point with the cases I was receiving, I was like, hey, Mimi story na wanaume hapana. Because at this point, if it's okay, I'm not victimizing anyone. Like, I'm just saying how it took an emotional toll on me. I even had to take a break at some point and seek counseling because it was becoming too much. But I learned, and I'm still learning how to be emotionally intelligent when it comes to that part of trauma. The next thing is the stigma and the resistance. Because honestly, some people at this point, some communities, some individuals downplay GBV. So it's very difficult at some point to foster awareness, advocacy, and the justice for survivors. You'll receive so much stigma. At times, someone will be like, no, you're just hating on men, you're not advocating for anything, no, you're just bitter, blah blah blah, you're just a kid, there's nothing you have seen, these cases are not serious and all that. So there's stigma that comes with that and the resistance. And I've talked something about dealing with such a setback. Resilience. The next challenge I have faced is at times the stakeholders are not cooperative, honestly. You'll find that maybe you have gone somewhere to advocate, because me, I've told you, I really advocate. You find that the stakeholders are so uncooperative, and it can hinder your progress, leading to delays in justice. By the way, that's one thing that leads to delays in justice. You really follow up on a certain case hadi unachoka tu, honestly, because at times even the the legal system, you don't have enough support for these survivors. So uncooperative stakeholders is another setback that I have faced. Also, safety and security. At times, you can receive threats, honestly, that for your to your personal safety. You can receive threats, especially when you're challenging someone that has money, someone that has a big status, or advocating areas with weak protection for activists, or or exposing some abusers. You really find that you receive threats, but I've learned to deal with this over time. The next thing that I think I have faced a setback. I had already mentioned trauma. I think it's fatigue, because at times there are so many reports to write and you just feel so overwhelmed and overworked. Yeah. And another thing is also legal hurdles, because at times, as I've mentioned, the legal processes are so slow, the enforcement of laws are so weak, a lack of a solid legal frameworks. It's just always too much to deal with. But I'm learning how to overcome at least all of the challenges. As I've learned resilience. I think I've mentioned self-care. I've really learned self-care, because at times as a leader, you have to just step back and care for your mental health, care for your physical health. Because at times it's always just too much to be a leader, honestly. And also strategic advocacy has really helped me, because at you might go somewhere and find resistance, and if you're not strategic about your advocacy, it's really so hard. So those are some of the challenges that I personally have faced. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much, Diana. I think yes, she really needs the hands, because I think there's a point at some point you could notice Diana was like, wow, there's a lot that comes with leadership. There are times you even ask yourself, sasa surely ni nini linileta huku? Ni nini linileta huku, you know? But I think I really love the fact that you have been able to pull through and you have remedies to each and every challenge that you undergo. And I can only pray that God gives you the grace to continue because it doesn't get better, honestly. The higher you go, the more challenges you face. But I think the higher you go, the more muscles you gain to face the challenges quite well. So I think that is really wonderful to hear from you. And to Brian, I don't think I'll ask the same question, but in case you have something to share, you can. But I'd like to pose this question to Brian. Um, in your own leadership journey, what is the role of mentorship, especially in youth leadership? I mentioned that sometimes we as young people kidogo tunataka kuambiwa, kidogo hatutaki kuambiwa, kidogo we feel like these people, it's like they're not understanding me, they're not getting where I'm coming from. Do you have a mentor yourself, for example? Is there someone you look up to in your leadership journey? And what role has it played, and of what significance has it been to that in your leadership journey so far?
Right. Thank you, Ruth. And I hope now I am audible. Sorry about previous guys. Yeah. So I'll start off by just adding one more point to the previous question that you had asked. Some of the challenges, and I feel Diana have really encompassed all of it in her narration as she was giving out. And at some point, I almost felt like, she was speaking directly to what we've been feeling. And even her being media, it's even more tough. For us, gents, one challenge that every gents will every man, and I even know those who are in the room will experience is gender biasness, whereby, while women may be overlooked and be discriminated because of their gender and even be overlooked in leadership spaces. Nobody talks about the male gender where you are expected to be right. I mean, like as a man, like you have no room for error, and the society does not even expect you to be nothing but perfect. So all these expectations that the society throws on every male child, whereby you are expected to be, you're told like a male person is not expected to cry, a male person is not expected to show weakness. As a man, you're not expected, not to be anything far from perfect. Like the society have killed the boy child into a space of being always upright and being like the always right person to a position to a point that we've even lost who we are. We've even lost the personal touch, and that is what is killing majority of young men when they're in the positions of leadership, not being able to understand how to balance their personal and professional life, whereby we say personal is who you are as a person, when leadership is out of the circle, who are you as a person, and when we bring in now professionalism in bits of career and leadership, who are you as a person. So being able to balance to balance those two then have been a reason, like have been something that has been killing majority of the male child and even more of young male leaders. So the question that you just asked, what is the role of mentorship and how young people can find or even become mentors? And I'll start with saying like I had like I had said earlier, you can't grow in isolation. You need to surround yourself with mentors, you know, um, a connection, a network that challenges you, that supports you, and then puts you to evolve. Like because leadership is a constant journey of learning. So for me, the position I see for for mentorship is number one is guidance. It's to provide guidance and growth. So like mentors will provide you with with guidance and support on insights from experienced individuals, like whatever they've experienced in their leadership journey. Even as they were growing along and even coming along, what they were able to get, the common pitfalls that are there in leadership, because some of the things will always be constant. Like if you're saying if it's leadership, then how do you manage your social presence? That will be number one thing that will always be constant, because there's always who you will be on the socials, and how you manage that, and how you also relate it with when you're not acting in a position of leadership. Then those are some of the common pitfalls and some of the mistakes that young people do. So one role of
mentors and guiders here, and coaches and trainers. Then they guide to provide you with that guidance and growth, and even help you through that channel and through that leadership journey. The next thing for me is they provide a network for opportunities, because they will introduce you as a mentee, as a leader in growth, as a leader who is aspiring to get to a new height. They will introduce you to other people and other connections. They usually say that your connection, your network is your network. So whoever you relate with during that journey, as you grow, as you get to evolve to become a better leader, will be helping you and be guiding you. So as young people, we need to find mentors and actively seek mentors by reaching out to leaders that we admire. So when you're looking for a leader who you admire, is checking who they are as a person, what they do on their daily basis, and what is the kind of profile they've created for themselves, and is it the kind of leader you would want to be? Because sometimes you aspire leaders who have so much negativity, to a point like when you're becoming a leader, you find yourself you've been influencing yourself with a lot of negativity, to a point like you've lost the connection with people. Remember, being a leader, number one, is connecting with the people that you are aspiring to lead, and the people who are always surrounding you, and the people who are behind you. And even as a young person, even as you get to grow in leadership, you also need to understand that you are also raising other people. Like the moment you stand out, then there's always somebody who is always looking up to you. And like I had started initially by saying, it is turning those followers to be leaders of tomorrow, in understanding that tomorrow you'll not be there, but you need somebody to be there. So it is not more of creating you, but it is more of creating more leaders to walk with you through the journey, because you can count your success when you see something is done when you're not there, rather than counting a success you had to instruct somebody to do something. So it is more successful when somebody takes up the opportunity even when they are not asked for, and they seize the gap, because you've been able to influence them to see the gaps, to see the pitfalls, and be able to act up, not even without even being told, but just seeing. So as a leader, you need to gain, like, becoming a mentor you yourself as a leader, and even gaining more people to follow you, and becoming a mentor to other people, is you gain experience, and then you also get to monitor others and mentor others by giving, and you can also call it as a way of giving back to the society. And we usually say, like, a candle doesn't lose more light when it lights other candles. So in fact, it makes the room more brighter. So as a person, as a sharpener, you can only sharpen more to help others be sharp. So you can also give back to the society by helping others gain leadership skills and even grow, and watch them scale higher. And usually say, like, this is where now you see, if you take the role of a parent, like, as a parent, usually help your child to even grow and reach the height you never reached. You want to see them prosper above where you are. You don't want to see them below you. You want, if you are able to reach a certain level, you want them to go an extra level higher, or even two or even three levels higher. So as a leader, the people who are under you, the people you are leading, the people you're mentoring, then they should be able to scale up the heights and even go above the land and go beyond from where you are able to reach. Thank you, and back to you, Ruth.
All right. Thank you so much, Bran. Very, very comprehensive on the role of mentorship. And I actually love the fact that you mentioned it's quite important to strike a balance. As you light other people's candles, you also need someone to light yours as well. Because yeah, I think it's quite important to have a few people who have the experience of how things have been, so that they can help you navigate. Probably they're going to save you half the energy you will have used to navigate through a certain issue. And I think personally, I am a good advocate of mentorship, whether it's horizontal or vertical. Probably because you're almost running out of time, or we're running out of time. I'll give each a minute. Yeah. So all of us, we are in social media. We've seen the role of social media in terms of influencing leadership, influencing change, influencing, driving certain narratives on certain levels. Maybe from your own point of view, or from what you guys are doing, how can young people make use of social media and the social media platforms that are there for them to advocate? Because I'm very sure Diana is an advocate on matters gender equality and gender equity. also for you, Brian, in your own spaces, we'll start with Diana. How can young people, from your own experience, use social media platforms? And what are some of the good ways? Because we know that sometimes kuna vile huwa tunablanda kidogo as young people as we're using social media. You know, what are some of the good ways we can use it for our own benefit and also for the benefit of the society? We can start with you, Diana.
Thank you so much uh, for the question. So, how young people can use the social media to advocate? So, I feel like it's important. Okay, they can create campaigns. They can the hashtag campaigns. Basically, there are always viral movements that can support them. I'll give an example. E.g., after creating a campaign video, you just create a hashtag. For example, hashtag Me Too. Yeah, to just show because that hashtag can really create a global traction. You can also organize virtual events, virtual webinars like this one. Yeah, so organizing online webinars, events. You can also use platforms to organize petitions, basically. E.g., how during the period of rejecting the finance bill, I saw that a lot where they used platforms to organize petitions. Sana sana Twitter, it's really effective for when you want to target the policymakers. You can also use group discussion forums. I'll really recommend Facebook for that. Yeah, you really connect with supporters. You can share your ideas, blah blah blah. Also, you can create reels. You can use TikToks to just make videos that will maybe call to action. You can also engage in trendy conversations by commenting, sharing your own perception, uh, the civic debates on Twitter, etc., etc. You can also encourage volunteers to, or you can volunteer to start an advocacy space online. You can also share information online, basically to just create awareness and advocacy. I'm sure there's so much more, but those are the ones that I feel like are really important. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much for that, Diana. We can wait, has Brand left?
I'm here.
Oh, I think Brand, I'm the one who can't see him from my end.
I'm here.
Oh, jamani, kwani nowadays Google Meet is throwing people anyway. I think from my end I can't see you, but Bran, you can also tell us how, in your own way, you are using social media currently to push for your philosophy in leadership, and how young people can also um, utilize the social media platforms.
That's truth, and I want to echo what my co-speaker has spoken about in her talk. Um, and I'm saying what I can say is that young people, like, we need to harness the power of social media to grow our leadership and make positive impacts in the society. Like, in a world whereby social media is giving uh, many information, you need to understand what is important to you, or what makes you who you are, what, and get some of the tips that you can be able to use for responsible social media use. Number one, you need to be authentic. So you need to stay true to your values and ensure that your post reflects the kind of leader you want to be. Then you also need to share accurate information to build credibility and avoid the spread of misinformation, because people will gauge you based on what you've been able to post. Then number three is that you need to balance offline and online. You know, like, where the use of social media, like, you can use social media to complement the real world leadership, actions rather than replace them. Like you need to say what is online, but also be able to stand ground on what is offline, like who you are when you're meeting with somebody on face to face. And you can also use it for advocacy, not just for visibility. Like where majority of the people just use social media for visibility, just to create traction and be able to be known. Use it to advocate for go beyond self promotion by using your platform to advocate for meaningful causes, whether it's about mental health, whether it's about climate change, whether it's about good leadership. So be authentic, be you, and use it for the right. So number one being in the based on the question, and to just finish up and wrap it up. Number one is use social media to build your own personal brand. Like as platforms like LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, to showcase your leadership qualities, and then you share your personal insights and demonstrate thought of leadership on topics like governance, entrepreneurship, and social justices. And this one will help you create a professional online presence that attracts opportunities, mentorship and partnerships opportunities. It also helps you grow credibility and allow you to be recognized as a leader amongst your community. Then number two, how you can use online safety use of social media is for networking and collaborations. Like social media can allow you as a young leader to connect with influencers, with peers, mentors, and organizations globally. So when you join this conversation and you join these spaces and even these topics that you are passionate about, then you can leverage on these ideas and connections to collaborate on projects, share ideas with other people, and exchange the knowledge that can lead to not only to personal growth, but also to projects, to team growth, and also be able to offer advocacy efforts. And then finally, all I can say is that use social media. For me, social media to learn and educate myself as a leader. Things like YouTube, things like LinkedIn Learning, things like Twitter Spaces, like have access to free leadership courses and resources and webinars and talks from global experts, local experts. Follow these leadership influencers to gain daily insights because everything in a fast-paced world like we are in today, everything is revolving and learning. So continue learning and helping yourself stay informed and up to date with global trends, with leadership strategies and governance issues. Thereby, you improve your ability to lead effectively. So, yeah, that's all I can say. That the use of social media in a nutshell. Back to you, Ruth.
All right, thank you so much, Brian, for that. I think building your own profile on social media is quite important. And also being authentic in how you deliver your messages, how you create your content on social media, how you create content for your desired watu wanaitwa nani jamani, people who receive information. Mtu anisaidie na hiyo word. This brain can betray you jamani, this brain can really betray you. Maybe before I get to Diana, let me let Brian finish.
All right. Yeah, I think the word you're looking for is followers or listeners. But one thing also I needed to add, and you also need to use social media, create a safe digital space. As a leader, there is so much online harassment and cyberbullying. So as a leader, you shouldn't be using your space or you shouldn't be using your online community to influence or castigate violence or not create a safe space for even people, not only your followers, but also to the people, to your mentees, people looking up unto you. So you can create an online community of where young people can discuss leadership, governance, and personal development, offering a space for dialogue and growth. Like you've seen in the recent past in our country, whereby we are faced with demonstrations and anti-government protests. Some people use their social spaces to create space for dialogue, while others were castigating violence. So ask yourself, as a leader, as a brand, what space, what online space are you creating a safe space for young people and your followers, or are you the person creating the space for and violence? Thank you, Ruth. And I think Diana had raised her hand.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much, Brian. Remember ni constituents. Cedric anatumia maneno ya United Kisumu jamani. But anyway, thank you so much. I think I was looking for those words. Okay, this brain. Anyway. All right, Diana, you can go ahead.
Thank you. I know time is up, but I just want to dispense knowledge for just 1 minute. Just when I was mentioning the communities, I mentioned vision. This is a very important point. You really have a book and somewhere to not just note this down. As a young leader, especially if you're working in an organization and you want to create an impact that they will even look for you to even extend the contract if if they have to, you must have a clear vision. This is so important because you must be able to address the needs of 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 maybe that organization, etc. And for you to have that vision, you must have a purpose because a clear vision really needs a purpose that will align with the organization. It's really important. Even if you're creating an online platform, you need to have a vision that will align with what you're going to advocate for. That vision should be able to inspire others. Communicate your vision in such a way that it will be understood and its objectives and purpose. It will inspire members to join and contribute to the cause. And make sure when you're communicating the vision, as I'm concluding, you must be able to come up with a long-term solutions. Most of the leaders that I've seen that are in this, okay, maybe just an organization, they come up with short-term solutions. You need to be different and come up with long-term solutions that will create a sustainable change. Basically, it will ensure that this benefit will continue to be developed rather than just a short-term solution. Have a long-term solution that will need aligning efforts and will cultivate a clear vision for your organization. Basically, it will address the root causes and it will ensure that even when it comes to funds and resources, it will be allocated effectively. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I just had to say this because I felt it was so important. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Diana. Thank you so much, Brian. I think thank you also, Cedric. I think Cedric has been very, very attentive because I've actually saying unapata chance ya go through the notes and he has been able to capture quite I have to to nijipata make a comment on
I think Ruth, your network is glitchy. Ruth, you're not audible. So as Ruth fixes a network, we can, if you have any questions, post it. Oh, so as Ruth fixes her network, if you have any question, you can post it on the chat board. But we are so much behind time. But I appreciate today's conversation on youth in leadership. So I hand over the microphone to Tito. Yes, to wind us up. Tito, back to you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Let's give a round of applause to the team. If we can use the online clubs. I can see we have been learning. I can see a good number of people showing their appreciation. Yeah, thank you so much. I really want to appreciate all the moderators of the day. Cedric, I can see you are very active in the chat box. Brian and Dinah, and also Ruth for the good moderation of the day. Thank you so much. I want to just end up maybe by saying all of us, we are all leaders. It's just a mindset on how you lead others. And also, let's practice servant leadership, not just controlling, but also let people learn from you, from what you do, so that people can follow you in a way that they are following what you do, but not taking them control over what they are doing. So thank you so much. Just to remind you, next week on 28, 27, we have a um, game night whereby we do chatbot games in relation to what the issues of young people, just a conversation, and also to see what solution we might have. And then on the following day, on 28, we have a hike to Karura Forest, steps to wellness and physical wellness, mental and physical wellness. Also on this coming Wednesday, on 20, that I believe so, the same time, we usually, this month actually is part of, apart from Suicide Prevention Month, we also have Sickle Cell Awareness Month. And through the My Mental group, My Mental Club, we shall be having a mental health wellness, just to talk about the sickle cell warriors, people who have undergone, and how we can prevent ourselves, or how we can support those who have undergone the sickle cell within our communities. I've seen uh, I've seen Brian has raised a hand. Maybe you can make it very quickly because of time.
All right.
Brian?
Thank you very much, Tito. Thank you very much, Tito. There was a question on the chat box. I think it was Jewel who asked, "How do you get over threats? How do you get over threats you get as a leader?" So, getting over threats as a leader requires a lot of combination of emotional intelligence, strategic thinking, and even support from trusted networks. So, number one, when you get threats as a leader, you need to stay calm and rational. So, avoid reacting impulsively to the threats, no matter how they come. Take time to assess the situation calmly and respond thoughtfully rather than emotionally. So, like, this will help you maintain your clarity and control, and even allowing you to make a decision not under pressure. Then you also need to evaluate the threat. So determine the legitimacy and the seriousness of the threat. Sometimes is it a danger to your safety? Is it a danger to your reputation? Will it undermine your reputation, or will it even impede your leadership? And then you need to understand where is the source of what is the source of that motivation, or the source of that threat. And this one will help you distinguish between genuine threats and baseless. After you're able to do that, also seek legal and professional support. As a leader, you do not thrive as an island. So as a leader, you need to have other support. So ask for support, lean on trusted allies, and also communicate transparently. Like, speak what you think, whether it's a threat, and in case of any challenge in your leadership or reputation, address them with transparent communication, either through public statement or private discussion, depending on the context. So do not fear to be vulnerable. Be vulnerable, and because it is one strength, because you are a human being despite being a leader. Yeah. So I hope I was able to answer Jewel's question in just a nutshell. Back to you, Tito.
Wow, I cannot add more about that because you have really put it in the right way. As a leader, you are human before becoming a leader. So don't rush rationally, and just try to assess the threats and how it has started. And as a leader, you always listen. Be more of listener, be more, know how you communicate with people around you, because anything that you say, they'll take it to their hearts. And because you're a leader, they'll always refer to what you're doing. So thank you so much. I really don't want to add more about this. Diana shared her contact in the chat box. You can reach out to her. You can be added to our social media platform where you can communicate. And if you want to be part of this platform, you can also reach out to her, and we shall include you in our upcoming webinars. Thank you so much. Do not forget for Wednesday webinar. Maybe Diana, you can also share the link on Sickle Cell Warriors, and hope to see you then. Thank you and have a good evening.